Welcome on in. This is Three Bold Takes. Freddie, Chase, and Quinn. A little bit of a hiatus, guys, but we are back. Got some college content for you, and nothing better to start off with than talking about the transfer portal like we always do, and talking about Kadyn Proctor. He left Alabama to start this offseason when Kalen DeBoer got hired and decided to go watch Caitlin Clark hoop at Iowa and has decided, hey, the spring portal opens. I'm heading back to Alabama, in fact. So, guys, just first off, before I get into other questions, thoughts on Kadyn Proctor returning in the second window of the transfer portal? Quinn, I'm going to hit you first.
Look, I think it's something that needed to happen because I think nothing's going to make higher ups in the sport react to what craziness the transfer portal and NIL combined can be other than it biting them in the butt. And this is like the biggest example of that I could think of. Like you pay, like you get this guy to come in, he's big transfer talent. He's there for like 2 seconds and he leaves again.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone really wants that. Like it's already a tough pill to swallow for people that they're there for a year and they could be gone. The fact that they could be there for a couple months and then dip again, let alone back to the place you got them from, is kind of crazy. I don't know if that's somewhere where we really want to go with the sport.
Yeah, I kind of along the same lines here. First of all, as an Alabama fan, welcome back. I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't come back. Welcome back. I'm going to welcome him with open arms because he's a great talent. So with that piece out of the way, as a college football fan, this is horrible. And this really pisses me off, especially when somebody goes to a school like Iowa who only has so much NIL money, collective money, what have you, and they expect to get somebody with such talent from the University of Alabama, and then turns out, oh, wait a minute, I actually want to go back to Alabama, which it doesn't make any sense to me. Like maybe he got up there and realized that the grass wasn't greener at a new university or in a new environment, but even then, like you made the decision. You got to stay. You know what I mean? Like that's my input, or at minimum, you shouldn't be able to go back to the same school. And you should be forced to give all that money back. And I think this is one of the downsides of having collectives and like not having it structured in a sense of they're giving these people this money without really repercussions on what has to happen in return. Right? Like I'm looking for contracts where you cannot opt out of a bowl game and get your money. Like that's one way to make bowl games better again, is having that in certain contracts and things like that. And that's just not where we're at right now. We're at a very chaotic wild west. Here, I'll give you $1 million. You come. I don't care what you do, but just come. And that's a very dangerous spot. And Quinn, I 100% agree with you that this needed to happen. And maybe it takes it happening to a couple of more bigger name players. Hate to say it, but more impactful players like a quarterback, star quarterback, running back, things like that. But I think it definitely put it on the radar as some things that need to be looked at.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Proctor only leaves. I mean, Iowa is his home state, but I think at the same point they offered him some money to go back there. And Proctor even mentioned that Iowa was checking in with him throughout the season at different points, which is by legal statements tampering. That's what it is. And so he went back and he got his money and he stuck around. And he's only going to stay 2 months, 3 months at most. The April 15th window, that's the spring portal window. He can transfer back for the first time officially. And I think one thing that is kind of going to fly under the radar here is just the impact it's going to have on some of these guys graduating. Like think about DJU, who's transferred 3 years in a row. Does he have his hours or his time allotment for classes and stuff finished to actually graduate in time? And Kadyn Proctor, did he actually do anything this semester as a student to advance him a semester like he's supposed to? I don't think he did. I think that's something that's going to fly under the radar for a lot of these guys when it comes to scholarships and stuff of that nature, that it's really you go from student athlete to only athlete at this point when you have stuff like this in place. And so, and I think again, Freddie hit the nail on the head with you lose that money, you can't do anything about that. You can't go to the NCAA or anybody and say, hey, he took my money and ran away with it. Kadyn Proctor, that might have been the smartest thing. This might have been his plan all along. We don't know. Hopefully it's not a malicious intent that he did this on purpose, because that's just insane. But the kid could have just got offered $2 million to go play to Iowa, took that money and came right back to Alabama, where he knows he's going to win football games at, where the conference is better play. He's going to get better suited to play pro football and all these different things. So it's kind of interesting to see that. But my question now is, Kadyn Proctor might have just made the Titanic hit the iceberg here, and the ramifications for college sports and how the transfer portal is going to change over time. Does this impact the transfer portal as soon as this next season? Do you guys see anything there?
If we know anything about the NCAA, is they don't work fast. So I wouldn't expect anything this year. And you bring up that window that opens April 15th. You're right. I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen from some of the things that we've heard. There could be some big names on the move again that's already transferred once. So I don't know.
I think you definitely don't see the NCAA do anything. I don't think anything I've seen from them in the last 2 or 3 years makes me think they're going to do anything about NIL and transfer portal. In regards to what do we do about it long term, I think maybe in a couple years or so, you could see them move the transfer portal to like a one-day thing, maybe move it back a little bit to kind of be more in the middle of where the two are. But in terms of next season, I don't think you see much of a change at all. I think this is going to be a 2 or 3 year bullying in the off season before something gets done.
Yeah, to allude to Freddie's point, there are some other big names that are rumored. I'm not so sure if it happens, but one being Caleb Downs may end up transferring. Not so sure about that one, but this is a pivotal spring for sure for the transfer portal and how the NCAA may handle this in the future. So, guys, stick around. If you think what Kadyn Proctor did was right or wrong, let us know, guys. We're so happy to be back. 3 bold takes. Thanks for watching, listening, and engaging with us. As Freddie, Chase, and Quinn signing off.